Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to TeachersLearn2.com. I am Adam Peterson and this is episode number 5 of Teachers Talk 2. Let's get started. Okay everyone, we are back with episode number 5 of Teachers Talk 2. I am Adam Peterson. Thank you again for tuning in and watching on TeachersLearn2.com. We've got 3 questions we're going to tackle today. Some very good questions about my classroom and how I run certain things in here, but also things that you can take back and relate to your classroom as well. So we're going to talk today about my reading tubs and my math tubs, these tubs you see behind me here. We're going to talk about, again, how my stations work. We talked on a couple episodes ago about how I run my stations and what kind of time frame I do everything, but I want to show you today my chart and how it works. And then we're also going to talk about behavior management. And the way I use my behavior management program in my classroom may differ from yours, may be kind of the same, but we're going to talk more in depth about how I run my behavior management program and how I contact parents about the behaviors in the room and what we do to kind of manage that throughout the school year. So let's get started with these 3 questions right now. All right guys, so let's get into our first question for the day, and this question comes from Dan K. This is actually our first guy asking a question on Teachers Talk 2, so thank you for doing that, Dan. His question related to these tubs here. So it says, Adam, first of all, thank you for all you are doing with Teachers Talk 2 and TeachersLearn2.com. Love watching the videos each week. Keep it up. Well, thank you, Dan, for the comment and the compliment. I appreciate that. I love doing this and I love sharing ideas, so thank you for watching. The question is, I notice each week in your videos you have red tubs behind you labeled R, E, and some other letters. I know I kind of sit in front of this so it's hard to see. Just curious what those tubs are for, how you're using them, what is inside of them, what time of your day you're using them, and exactly what you're doing with them to involve those tubs in your classroom. Just curious after seeing them on each video, want to know more. Thanks again, Dan. These are what I call my read tubs, or my reading buckets, and I use them during my reading block in the morning when kids are being pulled out for interventions, or a time where I just need to work with a small group and I want them to do some independent work that's not our normal station time, where they're just focusing simply on reading activities. So in these tubs are different language arts, reading, writing activities that they can do on their own. And I've got a check-in system for these, and it's not ready yet, but it's going to be. It's going to be class lists on top of here and sheet protectors, one for each column. And what they'll do is each day they go to these buckets, they have to pick a column. So let's say I choose to do the D buckets today. I'm going to cross my name off with the dry erase marker on the list on top, and that way I know, and they know and I know as the teacher that they've already used that column for the week. We do these on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or whatever 4 days we can during the week. So there's 4 sections they can do. So if Ellie, for example, chooses to do the D tubs tomorrow on Tuesday, she's going to cross off her name and she can do any activities out of these D tubs for that day. The next day she knows she's already done D, she can choose any other tub. And there's all kinds of different reading-based activities in here. So for example, in this D tub, we've got our foundations puzzles, our letter puzzles, and more letter puzzles that I had made, matching up beginning sounds with a letter or capital and lowercase letters. Again, something they can do on their own. This one is all dry erase activities, so there's ABC mazes that they can do on their own. And then some of these books, you can pick them up at bookstores that are write and wipe boards where they can write in the missing number and then erase, or the missing letter, I'm sorry, and erase it. And then there's self-check as well, so they can check what needs to be there. So that's a great independent activity. I've got more puzzles, I've got file folder games, matching things, reading phones to practice their read to self time. Just anything that you feel in your classroom that they can do independently while you're working with a small group or you're kind of roaming around checking different things is a great thing to add to these tubs. So I did mine read. I kind of adapted this from a lady I saw on YouTube who does build centers, B-U-I-L-D, that each stand for something during their math time. I adapted it to work for reading. The letters don't really stand for anything other than the word read, but they know how to use them, they know how to check things out, they know how to put them back, all stuff that they can do on their own. So this is something you could easily set up in your classroom using tubs that you might have and games or activities that you already have in your classroom. Nothing in here is newly created. This is stuff I just pulled out of my closets or other stations that was strictly reading or language arts based. That way they're already knowing how to use these things. And I already had the tubs. I picked these up at IKEA, I think, a couple years ago for maybe $2 a piece. I've slowly built them up over the years. And I hope that helps some of you who are maybe questioning what these tubs were for. But again, it's during my reading block. It's independent activities with a checkout system based on the letters, so that they're using everything throughout the week. And it's a great way just to practice and improve those independent learning skills for your reading time. So thank you, Dan, for that question. I really hope that answers that. Let's get into our next topic right now. All right, guys, question number 2 today came from Kimberly, and this is all about stations. So we're going to get right into her question. She says, in a couple episodes ago on Teachers Talk To, you talked about your stations, how you rotate, how much time you spend in the station, etc. I was curious to see what your station chart looked like and how the kids know what area they're in or where they're supposed to be for the day. So great question, Kimberly. So this is your answer to that. So this is my station chart that I use around my in my classroom every day when we do stations. So each student has their picture up here. So all my kids have their picture on the board. If they're ever absent, like you can see, she was not here today, I flip their picture around so they know who to expect in their group and who might not be there if they're looking for someone. And then these cards right here match Dr. Seuss animals that are hanging around my classroom. So they know that if they're in the Lorax station, they're going to look for the Lorax. They know that that's the area of the room that they can play in for the day. And then I just rotate these down. So the bottom one comes out, this one moves down, and the bottom goes to the top. So that's how they know what station they're in. And it's also great for a sub too, because in my sub plans, when I do have a sub, I tell them how that works and how it rotates, and that the kids already know where to go. So as long as the sub can handle putting the cards down a row, the kids already know what to do in that station and where to go for that station. I use the first person in the row as my station captain, so I put someone there that I know is responsible enough to know what to do in each station, can answer questions for their group if I am busy with an individual or a small group, and can just kind of help get everything together in that station. The captain is also responsible for putting all the materials back in the station basket and back on our station basket shelf when the station is finished. So great question, Kimberly. Thank you for asking that. But this is my station chart. It's a very basic pocket chart. And then I just print off pictures to use throughout the year as we do our stations. So I hope that answered your question, and thanks again for asking. Okay, guys, the last question for today's episode came from Mary. And Mary was curious about my behavior management plan and how I keep contact with parents and manage my behavior throughout the day. So I made a behavior chart similar to a stoplight chart that we used to use in my classroom, but I themed mine up to go along with my Dr. Seuss theme in my classroom. So all the kids in my classroom start on green each day. So they each have a clip that's on green, and this hangs by my desk. And I don't use this very often unless I really have to for either way, and we'll talk about what that means. So green is where they need to start the day, where they want to be. And then they go down to yellow, red for making mistakes throughout the day or needing warnings and having to talk to them quite a bit. Yellow means 5 minutes out of recess. Red means 10 minutes out of recess. White right down here says thing 1, thing 2, and the principal 2, so they have to visit the office, and that's for major offenses. I've never really had to send a kid down there to white for any reason at all. But then, a couple years ago I switched this because all kids make mistakes and they need to learn that mistakes are okay and that we learn from them. So if, let's say for instance, number 1, my little friend Ellie moved down to yellow for having too many warnings for running in the hall or something like that. If she can show me the next time that we go down the hallway that she's doing better, then I'm going to move her back up to green by the end of the day. And then we completely forget about the yellow and we move on. Because if they understand that they can fix that mistake, then that proves something. And they need to understand that that's okay to make that mistake. Now I added the top of this up to orange and blue, and I just picked 2 random colors. If they're doing extremely well during the day and doing things beyond what I expect, then they can move up to orange or move up to blue for the day. And that's what we do throughout the day. They always start on green, they can move down, they can move back up, they can move up, but they can also move back down if they've made a mistake after going up there and not doing their best. So that's what hangs in my classroom. And then what I send home to parents, in their folders, I have this green piece of paper that you see here with all the dates on it for the quarter or the trimester that we are in. And I color that square. It stays green, so I color the date if they move their clip to yellow, red, or white. Or if they move it up to orange or blue, I color the square for that date, that color, and then over on the right side where you see reasons, I write why their clip may have been moved up or down. Now, you can find that green piece of paper on my Teacher Pay Teachers page for free. So just search Adam Peterson on Teacher Pay Teachers, and it'll be a free document. It's just an Excel document that you can use. You can change it any way you want to fit your needs, but it's already made up for you. You don't have to size it all out. And then that stays in the front of their take-home folder. We have take-home folders with a clear view pocket on the front. And that piece of paper I just slip inside their folder, and it stays in there every day, so the parents know when they go home that's the first thing they see. And they get so excited to share those orange and blue days, or especially green too, with their families. And then if they've had a rough day, the parents know exactly the moment they get home and see that folder what happened that day and why their clip may have been moved. So again, you can find the document on my Teacher Pay Teachers page for free. It's an Excel document that you can download and edit the dates and the information at the top as you need for your classroom. But I hope you find that useful. We have found it very useful here in our program. It's really easy to make, and it's really easy to change each quarter to slip inside the front of their folder. But that is how I do my behavior management plan, and that is how I keep contact with parents. So thank you, Mary, for that question. I hope my chart here and that green paper help you out if you're curious about how to maybe change yours or get yours going if you're a new teacher. It's worked out really well for me. And honestly, once the kids get this and they know it from day one, you rarely have to use this if you explain it well enough. They know that they want to stay up here, and they see that positive reinforcement. They see those colors there that they want to get to, and very rarely will you have to use yellow or red because they understand that going up is better than going down in the clip chart. So thank you again for that question. I hope that answers your question as far as how my management plan works and how I keep contact with parents. Thanks again. All right, guys, so there you have it. There's episode number 5 of Teachers Talk 2. Thank you to the 3 who submitted questions for today's episode and the many, many more that have so far. I will get to yours, I promise, but I'm just doing 2 or 3 a day just to keep these episodes kind of short because I know, teachers, we are all on a time crunch. So those are our 3 questions today. For now, until we record again, be sure to check out www.teacherslearn2.com for all our YouTube videos on tips, tricks, crafts, games, station ideas, and all kinds of activities. Be sure to check those out. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Teachers Learn 2. Post your questions for the next episode of Teachers Talk 2 on Instagram or Twitter with the hashtag TeachersTalk2, or send me a Facebook message or an email at adam@teacherslearn2.com, and I'll be sure to answer your questions on an upcoming episode soon. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Teachers Talk 2. Thanks.